We expect it next Friday. That's our lineup. And if you've forgotten all that, don't forget our 24-hour show info number, 365-7900, or just Google us and ask for Capitol Cinema's webpage.
1580 103.3 WPKY. Good morning. It's 30 at 8:35. We're joined this morning by Director of UK Research and Education Center, Dr. John Grove. Good morning.
Good morning, Misty.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate you taking your time to come in today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit. We've got this facility out at 1205 Hopkinsville Street here in Princeton. And what is this UK Research and Education Center?
The UK Research and Education Center is an investment by the university and the College of Ag, Food, and the Environment in the specific needs in research and education and extension here in the western part of the state. The needs we have here are very different than they are, let's say, in central Kentucky. That was recognized many years ago, and a research center was established out here. We have about a dozen faculty from about 7 different academic departments who work here. Most of them have a largely extension appointment, but we do a great deal of applied research at the station and, of course, on surrounding farms in the region. Okay,
and what sorts of things are researched? What?
The research ranges from animal science. We have a large beef cattle operation here that is the platform for a significant amount of beef research that's done here. We have several faculty that are interested in row crops, particularly corn, wheat, and soybean. We also have a significant forage program with Dr. Chris Teutsch here. We have an ag economist on staff, and that person, of course, works more with data and numbers coming from USDA and provides information for marketing, crop insurance, and things like that that's available to local producers. A lot of the faculty do workshops or county meetings, participate in field days, so they make themselves available to the public and to growers in particular who have a need for information. We have an entomology program. We have a horticulture program. So we've got a fair diversity. The facility also houses 2 public service laboratories. We have a regional salt testing lab. Not all the samples go to Lexington. We do probably about 40% of them at this end of the state. We also have a plant disease diagnostic facility so that samples are taken to a county agent's office and are immediately sent to the station, where we have a plant pathologist on staff who looks for diseases, but is also skilled at looking at things like that are insect infestations. Sometimes it's a nutrient deficiency. So this individual is very well trained across a wide spectrum of plant problems, and we offer that as a service to the public at large.
So can anybody go in and visit your facility, tour, find out what's going on over there?
Well, right now we're under construction. So frankly, there's a lot to see maybe from the outside, but it's not easy to get into the inside because frankly we're in cubicles and we've been moved around quite a bit. But long term, yes, we are publicly available. I recommend, because faculty are busy, I recommend, of course, an appointment with a faculty member or someone whose expertise you want. In the new facility, of course, under UK rules, labs won't be public available unless you're escorted. But again, if you arrange for something in advance, yes, you can have a tour. Our facility should be completely renovated and finished sometime around the 1st of September. And I anticipate we will offer a series of tours to the public at that time. We will have a brand new education and conference wing that we will also be hosting extension events, and also it'll be available probably with some kind of a fee structure for other events as needed in the community. The research is the part that's ongoing. The faculty have maintained a strong field research program, and also they've done some pretty good work in the animal science area as well.
What can you tell me anything specific what they've done?
Dr. Jamie Matthews in Animal and Food Science has worked really hard in improving the minerals that are fed to animals on pasture at this end of the state. There are some issues at this end of the state. Heat stress is one, and Dr. Matthews is interested in adding supplements basically to forage-based diets that improve animal performance in the face of that heat stress. We've also got programs in corn. We do variety testing on the station in corn, soybean, and wheat, looking for, again, better varieties, better hybrids in the case of corn that are better adapted to the conditions at this end of the state. And then we have ongoing applied questions in soil fertility, plant nutrition. Dr. Ritchie works in that area. So there's a lot going on depending on which faculty member you're talking about.
Sure. And you had mentioned that that there are construction and that you'll be open. And when you said there'll be extension events, you're talking about the Caldwell County Extension Office. Is that?
Caldwell County Extension Office maintains a county-level programming. What we do at the station is what we call regional-level programming, larger meetings, multi-county meetings where people from a larger part of the area would come in, excuse me, and a larger number of specialists would speak at those kind of meetings. But yes, the Caldwell County Extension Office does serve the county, and Shane's been doing a great job. And we've been actually collaborating with him because, frankly, we are now using some of his facilities to help support us while we don't have adequate space right now.
When did the research center come in to Princeton?
It came in the 1920s. I'm kind of new to this job, so my sense of history is probably not as exact as it should be. It started here with pretty much just the house and a few barns up on at 1205. Some construction has gone on since then. Excuse me. And the construction has first brought one station building, and then there was another one that was brought in 1980. And then that's the one we're renovating, is the one that was done in 1980 with new labs and more labs and new conference space and renovating all the existing conference space, and then a complete renovation of all the offices. Technology has changed a lot, so one of the major investments is basically rewiring for modern internet computer access, not just in offices but also in labs and in the conferencing center. We will have 2 classrooms in the conference and education wing, and those 2 classrooms will be available for distance learning, so faculty at the center can participate in teaching courses to students on campus, ultimately also reaching out in, let's say, from the center to multi-county groups where there'd be small groups in other counties, but through the educational process and facilities we have there, a specialist could reach out with a program to them.
That's awesome. So why was Princeton chosen as the area to put this facility?
The modern investment was based in the fact that the university and the college had a very significant investment here at the Research and Education Center, and frankly, it was more cost effective. We were the recipients, and we were very, very gratified from a $15 million tobacco settlement money grant that came via the legislature and the governor's office of ag policy. That has been matched by outside donors. We're working on a one-to-one match to bring it to another $15 million that would come towards the center. But it was a much wiser investment to renovate and improve our existing facilities rather than build something entirely new in an entirely different place.
Gotcha. What is the research there used for?
The research is primarily applied and therefore is intended to be of nearly immediate benefit to West Kentucky agriculture, as well as, let's just say, the agriculture in this nearby region, reaching across the river into Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana. Some of the work we do would be very relevant to them as well, West Tennessee. We do have some collaborative relationships across state lines, our faculty do, and that's been very beneficial. We have a dark tobacco specialist who works jointly with the University of Tennessee so that both states benefit from a well-qualified individual on that particular commodity. So we've got a number of good relationships, and again, that investment here makes that working relationship and the value of that research even more immediate. We'll have better labs, we'll have better capability in those labs to allow us to have another 30 or 40 successful years. It helps us attract really high-quality faculty. We've brought in a couple really high-quality plant pathologists and weed scientists, just new hires in the last 2 or 3 years, and having a brand new facility like this makes that very, very attractive to young people with the kind of expertise and the kind of ideas that we need for the region's ag going forward.
Once the facility is built and where you are anticipating, so by September hopefully, how many more staff are you looking at possibly adding?
We'll probably add a couple, 3 more faculty, and they will probably come with at least 1 to 2 support staff. Another thing that we're developing is additional graduate student housing. We'd been kind of weak in that area. So we have places for 18 students, most of whom are grad students, but not all. We have some visiting scholars, some postdocs, and one of our faculty has a really nice undergraduate internship program going on. That's Dr. Carrie Knott. Students are then able to live on the station and work on the station. We do have some that are commuter students, but many of them come from, some come from all over the world. We've had people from Peru, we've had people from Europe, people like that coming in, staying with us the requisite period of time to do the work. They bring a lot to the region, they bring a lot to the faculty programs that they're working in.
What is the internship position for?
There was a USDA grant that Dr. Knott received, and the dollars in that allow her to have about a dozen interns. Those interns she coordinates that, but they're scattered across a large number of programs. There are 1 or 2 that are even going to just be in Lexington and based in Lexington, because she has collaborators on this grant that are both here and up on campus in Lexington. They can be in entomology, plant pathology. They can be in a large number of areas. There's one coming in soil fertility and plant nutrition with Dr. Ritchie. So she sends out a broad call, and I think she has had a large amount of applicants for that, some from way out of state, like somebody from Florida or someplace like that. So there's a lot of interest because it was broadly advertised. But most of the students are coming from this region. We've got a fairly large number coming from Murray State that are going to be coming for this.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking I have a daughter that needs an internship. I might have to tell her to go search that because she's looking at going to Florida instead. No, I'd really rather you stay close. But anyway, okay, Dr. Grove, what else can you tell us about the UK Research Center?
Basically, that it's meant to be a major investment by the university, both in the region but also here locally, that we're really working hard to serve the needs and to be responsive. For example, there was a faculty meeting last Friday where basically the station will group some faculty together, and we're going to have what we call managing wheat in wet weather kind of a newsletter come out. The whole idea being try to be responsive to the concerns that producers have. That's our primary clientele, that and the county agents that serve those producers. Those are our primary clientele. So we want to be proactive or at least immediately reactive in situations where there's a stress point. But also looking forward to the future. Some of the projects the faculty are engaged in are like looking forward. If you're doing hybrid and variety evaluations, you're looking forward. What are some of the good genetics that we need as we move forward? Other investments in plant physiology, entomology. Dr. Villanueva, who is our entomologist, is interested in new insects, and when we see one, trying to understand what that might mean in terms of an outbreak or not an outbreak, as the case might be. Same thing in plant diseases.
In the new technology, you said you're upgrading the lab. What types of things are happening to upgrade the lab?
Primarily in the labs, number one, there's an improvement in the quality of space. Having special chambers and hoods, special chambers to rear insects, special hoods to deal with plant diseases, and do it so we can do the more cutting-edge work. We have to have what's called an APHIS permit. Well, then the facility has to be APHIS permitted. We're trying to maintain that for 2 different plant pathologists as well as the plant disease diagnostic lab. So the new facility allows us to do that more easily. Another thing we'll be looking at is in the soil testing lab that we have, making sure that they can have the most modern equipment to do soil testing. They're talking about adding services. We want to have a facility that supports them. They want to be able to measure soil organic matter here, not just in Lexington. They want to be able to do plant tissue analysis for nutrient here, not just sending it off to a private lab. We're also adding what we call a clean room. This whole area of molecular biology is leading to what we call molecular diagnostics. My favorite example is instead of a weed scientist having to take this weed that everybody thinks is resistant and spray it 5 different rates to figure out if it's resistant, you merely take a snip of tissue and you look for the expression of genetic information that tells you this plant is resistant. That's a whole lot easier, but we wanted to have a facility where we can do those.
Night low around 31. Still mostly sunny tomorrow. High is going to get to 58 tomorrow. Partly cloudy tomorrow night with overnight low around 36. And on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high of 62. It's going to be beautiful on Wednesday. There is a chance of showers moving back into the forecast Wednesday night with an overnight low around 38. Sunny skies today, high of 47.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Jeff Russo, attorney at law.
At Penny Ryle Electric, we're helping to develop the stars of tomorrow today. Penny Ryle Electric will present 14 $1,000 scholarships to let students in our service area shine to their fullest potential and become guiding lights for future generations. Scholarships will be awarded to students enrolling in 2- or 4-year college programs and vocational and technical training. Scholarship applications are available at each of our locations, or you can download it at precc.com. That's precc.com.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
All right, we're talking to Dr. John Grove, the director at the UK Research and Education Center in Princeton. And before we took our break, Dr. Grove was talking about the lab. And we were talking about not just testing on plants, but some animals. Right now, what is it you have at the center for beyond testing animals? I mean, beyond testing plants.
Right now we test soils and plants primarily, but again, we wanted to have the kind of a facility going forward where we would be able to test a wider range of biological tissues for a wider range of parameters. Again, that'll be driven by the imagination of the faculty, as well as the support from the college and the commodity groups. As I was mentioning to you during the break, the impetus for this major construction renovation project was the commodity groups, corn, wheat, soybean, the cattlemen's. They were the ones who really pushed hard. This was the largest single grant that ever came out of the Tobacco Settlement Fund, and it's been a real pleasure to work with these folks going forward to make this all happen. But the facility is meant to be a facility where cutting-edge ideas can be applied over the next 30, 40 years. And my responsibility is just to make sure that the platform for that is in place. You can't always anticipate all the ideas, but what you want to do is do your very best to provide the physical plant that allows those ideas to take root and grow.
And at this time, you said you don't have any wildlife biology department, but
I don't have a faculty member from the wildlife or forestry area here at the station. We expect growth in faculty, but again, that'll be driven by perceived needs and interests. And remember, all my faculty here are actually within academic departments on campus. They don't. They always ask me for things, but they're not underneath me in terms of their supervision.
Sure, right. Okay, Dr. Grove, UK Research and Education Center that is located at 1205 Hopkinsville Street in Princeton. And, you know, this sounds like a really neat place. I would love to go tour after everything gets all settled. Mm-hmm. Who would we call for a tour? You
just call the main number there, and I assure you we will have some things set up by then. Right now, frankly, we're just surviving the cubicle stage, but we will be doing some forward planning. There will be a ribbon cutting ceremony, and I think that we'll be inviting the public to at least view that as we do it. It's probably going to be sometime in the middle part of September. I don't have an exact date for you yet, but we'll get the word out to all of you prior to that event. Yeah, just let us know, and we'll try. Audrey will come cover that. I'm sure she would love to be there, but I would personally love to go take a tour. I think sometime when it's open. Okay. All right, Dr. John Grove, Director of UK Research and Education Center in Princeton.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
The sun is going to shine today with a high of 47. Overnight, we'll have clear skies with an overnight low around 31. Still mostly sunny tomorrow. High is going to get to 58 tomorrow. Partly cloudy tomorrow night with an overnight low around 36. And on